What is going on, Warriors? Your boy Shin with you back again with another video, and this time around we're going to be discussing, the event. All right, new stuff has been here already. Secret training is already back, and amongst other things, came in yesterday. Wasn't too. Yesterday was a long day for me, at the office as well. Today I've got, like I mentioned before, a birthday party where I've got to take my son to. So the whole family is going, so that's pretty much great. But we already have the, Mr. Adventure, the first set of the, I believe, is it the title party? The first set is already over. All right, so now we are pretty much on Somebody Book You, okay? Get ready. We'll be focusing on that later. But right now, as you already know, all right, we are having to pick up already our, vitality bracelets, which is the currency for the vital supplies, and we want to start to figure out what and stuff that you want to get. Okay, all right. So now, obviously, if you're pay to play, you're not. I don't think this is more or less, debatable. I believe there are other ways to actually get this stuff, right? I have no idea. Yeah, in the mall you can get more bracelets, so you can go right ahead and go ham if this is sort of thing. But as a free to play, you got to be very strategic over here, okay? And there's going to be certain things that you want to definitely get, regardless of your position, what level you're at, how far you've gone in the game, as well as just some things that I like. What, no matter what, really not, I wouldn't encourage it unless you're really early game, right? Because it's obviously a nice opportunity, right? So the first thing is we're going to look at, from a general perspective, right? Things that I wouldn't recommend that you get. Number one is this aesthetic stuff here. All right. Yeah, it's nice to have it. I don't know what you want to use it for. I don't know if this is not. It's a nice background if you like that sort of like bright sunshine kind of thing on your screen. But we're here to battle. I don't know if that's the kind of stuff that you want to have as your own screen there, or maybe you just want to have multiple screens, or you're trying to get a collection. So anything that will pretty much justify it, but it's going to be more or less a psychological thing if you're going for this stuff, right? Like, I want to have a collection of this, I'm collecting all this, whatever. Yeah, it might be to your personal amusement, right? Which is definitely not a bad thing, but if you want to look at it from a competitive standpoint, it is absolutely not necessary, okay? The other one is going to be this one here, and as you guys have seen as well, they're sort of like bringing this stuff back as a way to sort of redeem it. 50 of these bracelets, that's too expensive for it. This, in my opinion, should just been like, if you achieve certain things in the game, for example, hitting a certain amount of damage can get you this stuff. That will make people be more determined to sort of like fight towards the damage. At least you can use this to boast about their competitiveness, what they've done, because that's what you want to do. This is supposed to be, you see this kind of like when you have, like, my favorite right now that is kind of free, this one here. People see this, they're like, this guy's definitely a bad guy. He definitely, does his stuff, right? Because of course there are higher tier ones, for example, like those who are like what the wheels have, but at least it gives you some sort of like status when the other people actually come up to face you or to see you, like on the on the leadership board, right? But this one here is all aesthetic stuff. It doesn't, all it does is that, I kind of like wanted to buy this stuff, so definitely worth it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I've already spent a lot on it already. All right. For now, I'm going to skip the ones that I think are actually vital. All right. This one here is a bit. This one is going to depend on if you're, for example, new game. If you're new, right, then obviously you haven't got to the point where you can start to have this in the rewards here. So, and it's definitely good. What I would just say is get as much as you can for your first 4. You don't need to really push it hard, like just for your primary 4, all right? Because if you're still early game, it means you're not in a position where you need to be competing with 2 sets of teams. So just get enough that you want for your first 4, all right? Because eventually they are going to come out as rewards in the idle gains right here. Even for the fast track ones, you can get them here as well. And of course, they're going to start to appear in the store eventually, and you're going to see them here. And finally, if you're attempting Shadaloo city event, you're gonna be, even over here you get them, so they're pretty much available. The only thing that it costs gems, right? And you don't want to go for the ones that are actually discounted, because they always give 40% off on some certain instances. So make sure that you get to the one that actually is 40% off. Don't just go all out, and as long as it's available across the board, you just go and pick it up, okay? So that's with regards to the T1s, okay? All right, and now going back to, let's see, what's next to the T1s. This one here, I want to skip it, right? Because there are some that are just like absolute, no matter what the situation is, just absolute, right? So you already have an idea of the ones that I consider absolute. This one's here, this typically tend to come up after around the reward as well. This will only apply to if you're really, really early in the game, right? Because, and you know, you would have had to like unlock the fighting soul of certain characters for you to start to apply this, but they do actually come in thick and fast, and at least there will be enough for you to supply your first four. Because I'm actually focused on that first four right now, because if you're early game, then typically you want to make sure they have a strong starting lineup. All right. While you're still, like I mentioned, it's still important that you start to create that potential boost. You know, you already have your potential line that you're hoping to get, and then you're working towards that, right? So that's gonna be that. This one, you know, this one is only going to be applicable if you're late game. All right. But then again, you can never have enough of this. So I'm talking about this one right now because it's a bit debatable. It depends on what level or what stage you're at, right? But I still think they're very important. So I would just, that's a passive discussion on those, and I'm just gonna hold up for a bit, okay? And when it comes, if you're early game, a lot of people always say, you know, they don't recommend these stars, all right? If there are any of the arcade coins I will recommend this one, okay? Because of the 3PR, right? You're trying to build up your character base, you're trying to get as much, you know, character as possible. That's what being early game is all about. You want to make sure that you're creating your chance of actually getting the characters you want as quickly as possible. And one of the easiest ways for these arcade coins, forget about the fractional coins. Fractional coins are unnecessarily expensive. Don't even worry about it. You need 2 times the amount of arcade coins to justify what you have. Meanwhile, all it does, that just narrows down to a faction that you actually care about, and doesn't mean you're going to get a character you want within that faction, right? It sometimes comes to play when you have a particular faction that is weak, but still it doesn't justify anything. Like, you have the chance to pull, if you're going for this, you can pull times 2 what you will pull out of this one, right? You know, if we're just looking at it based on numbers, right, and probabilities. But this one doesn't justify anything for play. This one's obviously an absolute no. I never go for these ones here, no matter, even if I have enough and I have spares, I never go for this one, okay? This one is also another one that is actually important. When you're early game, you might, you know, obviously you might not be getting the SS gears yet, so you might start to pile this up. All right, you always stack them up, because eventually once you start to hit those characters, you're getting SS gears, that kind of stuff. Then you would have to want to make sure that you are very, very precise with what you're pairing them with. You want to make sure that you're getting the character as strong as possible. It's one reason why if you go to my character line sometimes, that's just one of the easiest examples here, you'll see that some of that missing stuff, even though I have whatever to go, I only typically apply it if I absolutely necessarily want to give them, but because I want a sense of like priority and awareness that these guys are lacking this stuff, I try to like not just always put it in, same way I do it with the cards as well. So, but in the case of, you know, going for this, all right, typically maximum I always, you know, it costs 30 here. I typically just go maximum like 2 rounds, or minimum you just get 1. It doesn't hurt to just get like 4. All right, obviously, like I said, if you're early game, you already piled them up, so you don't need them. But once you've started realize that you started to use them, and you just have maybe a few more, just go. Obviously it's probably stuff, but it does definitely help. All right, so definitely, you know, worth getting that as well. All right, this one's here. The only time I always would recommend you going for this is once you've actually gotten everything else and just have a little bit changed, but you don't want to use it on cash, right? Because cash, if you're early game, it's not going to be important, right? You don't need to worry about that. You can actually try going for this one to just kind of balance up the books when you have none left, okay? Because obviously, as you can see, most of them, and that's just 20, you know, 16, whatever it is, just 12, so you might be able to get 1 of that. Just adds to your chance of pretty much generating another character you can start like used to boosting up those characters you're trying to boost up. But only whenever it's just a balance case, otherwise nothing else, right? With this one here, this one's a little bit tricky. The reason why it's tricky for me is that it is, when you have it, you have it. So let's go over to let's see, the fighting heart right now. When you have enough, you have enough, right? As you can see, I have so like this amount here, but they're really, really scarce. They are really scarce, and they're not only just scarce, but when you actually want to purchase them, you're getting very little at once at a go. 120 is not bad, all right, and it's per 12. So this is one of the ones that, you know, if you're early game, you're not prioritizing this yet, but once you're mid game, you want to start prioritizing this because your character is going to reflect how well you're building them up. Most of the time I focus on the assassins because that's where most of my major crew is. Then I focus on attack as well because it's important that my damage dealers are doing stuffs. That's where the Vipers are. And then if you're a Fashion Blanca user, you also want to focus on tanks as well. And then then you may want the support is a bit tricky, right? But you have to also look at what the perks are. But basically, this one's for me to end game. Yeah, I would definitely recommend that you can go for this. I've never gotten this one yet. Okay, I've never found just justification for it at the moment. But while I'm close to considering that right now, there are a little bit higher priorities when it comes to some of the stuff that I over here, and I'm going to explain that shortly. Okay, now when it comes to these guys here, guys, it depends. All right, it really depends. If you're very early game, for example, you don't have any major character right now, yeah, you can just have one. Like an A unit is typically very valuable early unit, and if you have something like her or like Mad Ryu and all that kind of stuff, you'll be able to blaze through it, and you'll also be able to push your Mad Ryu quicker. All right, because in the end, the good thing about the Mad Ryu is that even if some people say he eventually falls off, he's an easy pair for Fashion Blanca, for example, so you don't disrupt other characters, and it's only one of the guys you can actually also build as quickly as possible because they do put that in. Otherwise, honestly, the truth of the matter is these are all factional characters. I'm not gonna lie, the only person I actually went for whenever I had the chance was Mad Ryu, if it did come up. Otherwise, I didn't care about any other person. And Mad Ryu is also, because it's Ryu, there's also a bit of bias towards him, so that was my justification for that. But typically, I would say once they're factional characters, this is only one as an early game that I'll probably say, probably worth it because she might not come up as much. But then, like I said, it's all it's all relative in terms of like who comes up. So really, if I want to just backtrack on everything, I'll probably just say none of them worth it. The only time you ever want to use, this to pull for characters, because most of the time whenever you go to pull for characters, you're going to find that you can only end up pulling one max. That's typically what events will probably provide for you, or two, because right now we're on 72. All right, we're not even far off, so maybe you would pull two from these ones here, because the reason why I tell you one is because actually when it puts infernal or master characters, they're typically more expensive. These are the only characters I go for. If there is no special faction character like the Master Inferno here, I don't usually bother with characters, so you can easily skip those. Prioritize building the characters you already have to make them as strong as possible. Okay, so now let's go back to the ones I actually skip, because on the end what that means is no. And with money, you only get money whenever that's the only thing you can get, because they're going to exchange it for you anyway. So that's the only thing you can get money. Don't be desperate. I know money is sometimes can be important in end game, but you would run out of it as quickly as possible. So don't even bother with that. And it's only in K. So right now, this 120K right now would be in excess of like maybe like 900K if I were to rush to 72 that I have right now. Right? Let's try and see if I want. Let's just boost it up. So if I go for the max. Maximum number, yeah. So okay, it's not actually telling me how many I'm going to get. I'm not going to actually confirm. But pretty much in excess of 900K. That's what you're going to look at. Not worth it, in my opinion. Like I said, only the last bit. So now let's go to the ones that actually feel is important. T2s are going to be important if you're early to mid game. All right, because it doesn't matter, because there's no restriction for a character getting the T2 gear. All right, as long as you have the gear slot open, you can put it there. It's going to make them stronger already very easily. All right, and so definitely once you have the option to get those, you want to get that. Once you're end game, honestly, T2 gear is debatable because you're going to be getting them occasionally from the idle rewards. You can also get them. They also appear in the, I believe, the guild shop as well. Yep. So like, there is definitely no need to rush. Once you're end game, T2s are not an absolute must, okay? Because I can bet you that at least your primary and even your secondary 4, they probably will have them. Like if I go over to French Banker right now, most of them are sort of like on T2s. This is not on T2 right now, but you can see I can actually push it to T2 because it's not the fractional gear that I want. And when it comes to the legendary characters, you guys already know you can only get them from the guild shop. I did have an opportunity to get one yesterday, but I didn't have enough to get it, so unfortunately I had to miss out. So I have to wait for another shoe to come up that is legendary. All right, otherwise, but I should have enough by the time next one shows up, because I think they do take time to come out each time. Okay, so that is for that there. Like I said, end game, don't bother about it at all. It's not required anymore. Mid church early, definitely worth it because it does boost your character a lot, so consider that. T1s only when you're extremely early, because you're going to take a while to actually unlock it. Once you don't, if you don't have it unlocked yet, go for those. And each one of them costs 4, as you can see. Make sure you only getting, in my own opinion, maybe for like your get them strategically, so that you can apply them to, for example, if you're looking at the damage dealers, only apply to, you got to strategy about it, because you're going to eventually unlock it, right? And there are going to be other stuff that are going to be scarce no matter what level you are. So that's why I'm trying to say this right now. So let's look at fight plank, for example. The attack gears are typically the ones on top. You can see, you're going to see things like attack, here. You're going to see attack here as well. The defensive ones typically the ones at the bottom. All right. Sorry, these you can see the attack is there as well, but it's very, very minute compared to this. Is 1k compared to 5k, right? And this one obviously 6k. And then of course you have this one here as well. Doesn't really have any attack at all. So at the most, if you want to just get this extra 1k, which in my opinion, you can sort of like do without, is focus on get like enough so you can get T1s for this one on top here, for the attack based characters, and for your tanks you can get on the defensive side, pretty much the bottom side here. But like I said, mostly you just don't get too much of them. I typically just prioritize 4 max per event, all right? Because every time an event comes in another 2 weeks, you should have a chance to actually get them again. On other events definitely coming as well, where you can actually get those as well. So don't spend too much. That's my opinion, is don't spend too much on them. Just get enough for your damage dealers. Typically you should be having like 2 or 3, because for example you want to make sure that Bison has that attacking buff, so it's going to be part of it, plus whatever damage dealer like Sea Viper or Mad Ryu, that is going to come up there. All right, so that's going to be what you want to consider in that spot, the likes of Gal and Co. This is one of the ones that I would probably say highest priority. Okay, these guys are they're always scarce. Okay, yeah, sure, once you're early game and you don't find yourself requiring it because you don't have enough fighting soul gems to actually push them up, they're going to start to stack up a bit. But after a while, you're just going to notice that they're just going to once you get your first character, you push them all out at least to FS20, which most of them will require. Some of them FS30 is necessary. You're just going to find out that you've maxed out these guys and they're now scarce. In fact, to actually get them to FS30, you're going to notice that you're going to have to be getting them in batches, because you want to start getting more of this. So this is absolutely one of the number one, in my own opinion, priorities you want to actually get when it comes to this particular vital supplies here. Okay, number one. The other one next is going to be between these two, right? Now most people are thinking, you want to spread this, you want to spread that, but I've actually realize this. All right, this is more accessible than this. What I mean is more accessible, I'm not saying in terms of like purchasing, because they are available in the shop at the same time, but when you're going for this, you're getting twice the rate and you're using cash, right? So right now I go right ahead and I get my 3. Right, but this one you're not using cash, you're using gems, and chances are you're also using your gems on not just pulling characters, but also maybe getting some special summon ticket. Like me right now, I was trying to drop to doing 2, but I realized sometimes if I did a lot of activities, I would still get enough to get one more. So I'll get one more as much as I can. All right, and that will give us a chance to see if we can pull for Goken by the end of the video. We're going to try and wrap it up with a Goken pool. Hopefully we're lucky. I did try last night, I wasn't successful, but that's that. And then you can then go right ahead and pull this ones. Alright, but the thing is, these ones are expensive. As you can see right now, once I pull this, sometimes I don't even have enough to pull the soul core, so you're gonna have chances where you're gonna miss the soul core. But with this one here, you can also prioritize this because you always have money you can unlock here and that kind of stuff. Of course, I may have a few more gems I'm starting to pile up here again, but I want them to stack up long enough so that I can try again in divination. Alright, so that's the importance of those two, because a lot of people have tried to figure out, oh, you know what, they're sort of like, almost the same sort of stuff, so you can sort of either pull them evenly or you can pull, or choose one or the other. I would say always choose these guys, okay? Because why I say that is because when I started to go through my Mad Ryu and doing the upgrade here, let's go to Mad Ryu real quick here. Alright, and the soul power, this one, power through the first attempt. This one, boom, power through the second attempt. This one, alright, I powered through, but I started to notice that I was getting a bit slow, and then boom, I got stuck. Alright, now obviously I have a little bit more because I've been trying to get them, but I have not done this because I have to be beside my spreadsheet where I'm actually trying to calculate the total number of the gems you have to sort of like compile, and I'm not always beside my laptop when I'm doing this. So whenever I'm doing recording, that's when I always remember that I have this one that is like yet to be pushed further. So I'm going to try and also continue to push it up so that I can actually push my review, because we also need to be curious to finding out how the rest of this ones go. I try not to watch most of the other content creators videos because I don't want to have any sort of like information gathered from them. Of course it's good because sometimes it makes you do better and all that kind of stuff, but I just want to make sure that I'm as original as possible. Once I've created content that's related to whatever topic that they may have put out there, then I can now watch the video and see what they actually say. If there's any correction I need to next time, I'll probably put it out there. And of course I have my views as well. I'm sure whenever you guys notice anything that is sort of off, you probably call me out in the comments as well, and I'll be more than happy to address it. Alright, so pretty much bottom line what I'm getting to is that I haven't tried to figure out what it takes. I want to actually find out on this journey with you guys, so that once I actually have everything piled up, then we will know. Because like I said before, I have no idea if this one is going to require a mixture of both, because as you guys know, the soul shard was this, right? This, and then the soul core was this, and this, right? So who knows, this one might end up being a mixture of both, or it could end up being soul shard one more time and soul core one more time. I don't know, but I'm curious about how it's going to pan out. So like I said, we're going to keep on chilling on that front, okay? But I'm going to try and make sure that by the end of this, by tomorrow at most, I should have at least try to push the soul core further so we can know what the next level is. Alright, so going back to I believe we're almost done with what I was recommending here. So out of this two, prioritize the soul core. I don't, honestly, trust me, you will not regret it. Prioritize soul core. Don't try and do even spreading. The soul core is gems that you need for this. Sometimes you're going to be restricted, especially once you get those. Once you're going to find yourself, the way you would have invested in these special characters, once you've actually gotten them to divination, you're going to find yourself zapping up your gems in no time. Whether you're using 3PR, whether you're using regular pulls or whatever, you're going to be going at a rate because you have these gems and you can pull them. And that's why, if you look at my videos in the past, always like 40Ks, going close 50Ks, minimum 30Ks, that's how the gem always look here. Now I'm in hundreds, not even in thousands. That's how important gems become long run. So anything that you can only get with gems, prioritize it over this money one. Trust me, you can't go wrong with that. And what is the last vital one here? I think I touched on finding. This one is this is a bit of both. You can get it, you might not get it, but you typically want to get it because these guys are really scarce, right? But these ones are a lot more important, and chances are that you want to make sure that once you get one of those special characters that actually has the soul power, they can actually push it. With regards to the soul power, I still feel like they're trying to distract us to invest in our current, soul core and soul shards on these other characters. That by the time, for example, a Bison now comes out and now has soul power, you're gonna be seeing people not just tearing their hair out, but they're gonna be so desperate to catch up with the stronger bisons out there that are going to stop forcing the soul. They're going to stop buying. I feel like it's like a strategy. They want to make sure that you are sort of like there, and you're sort of like going there, all that kind of stuff. But what I'm going to say is this, all right? If you already have one of these special characters, hey, if you were going through, stress trying to pull these special characters, over here, let's go right here. Look at me, I'm actually getting confused right now. So let's go to summon. Then you want to pretty much go all out and get it. All right, that's my advice for you guys. You want to go ahead and do it. All right. Now, the other thing I also thought about as well, because it's also been a bit of a discussion too. I will try and release a video on that, and I think that's where I'll probably do the summon. All right, I'll do some on that video. Is going to be, how do you want to prioritize the characters that you want to pull from here? You can see right now I'm just all over the place here, and you can see I'm so like in a bit of a limbo, and I'm going to tell you my own concept behind the thoughts here. Okay, like most of the things I try to do sometimes is a little bit of a quirky way, just because I'm trying to like just fulfill certain criteria. But if it comes to being effective, as best as possible, that's the method that's what I'm going to be discussing soon enough, and I'm going to be explaining why in my own details. All right, it's become quite a bit of a common video out there where people are recommending this, and I'm going to give my own sales on this as well in the next video. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. I believe that's all that is on this video here. We're going to just do a recap real quick here. This one, nah. This one, nah. This one here, you want to get at least a couple. All right, maximum maybe like 4, for you to be able to power up your main characters. If you're early, if you're mid, you want to get those because you probably haven't unlocked them yet. Just make sure you get the same thing amount, maximum 4 of this. If you're end or you're already past it, or if you unlocked it, be patient, it's going to come up, or you go through the Shadow Lucidity and get them there. You can use this stuff for other stuffs here. Same thing applies to this, but this one doesn't apply to me, it only applies to early. All right, this one here, absolute, this should be number 1 in my opinion. These guys are super scarce. I can't like just lost it, but I'm going on right once again turning. But this one I can't stress is well enough. This one here, absolutely you want to get those, right? They're only scarce, they're not going to become readily available anytime soon. They only are available through events. Anytime they pop up, you want to be prioritizing them. Okay, this is the ones you absolutely want to give your attention to if they come up. This ones here, they tend to build up. The only time I would recommend that you want to go for this ones, or if you are just a little bit closer to pushing them so you can actually get to the level of using this, right, or to that next FS level, you do that. Otherwise, you want to be patient, they're going to keep on coming, no problem at all. When it comes to these two, absolutely only go for the soul cores. This is my own take. Don't go for the soul shards. The reason why I say that is because your soul shard is money, the soul core is gems. Eventually you're going to run out of gems. With money you can get them from your bag. They come in, they're easily accessible here and there. During events you're going to easily get your money. Gems are very specific, you have to progress, or you have to do certain things to actually get gems. So don't go for those ones. All right, even if you're like, what, I just need maybe like a little bit more to be able to cross and do the soul core, absolutely still ignore it. When I had no idea how the soul core and the soul shard was going to work, right, I in one of the videos I think I did, like I sort of like got a little bit of one and a little bit of the other. I can't remember how it was, but I ended up realizing that I didn't need that one. Maybe I might need it eventually, but the truth of the matter is this, I know I can always get a supply from that because the money is always going to be available. But with this one here, I've had 2 days, or at least a day, where I either didn't get everything from the soul core, because once you start to go and pull up certain characters, for example, if you push everything you can on your special summon tickets, you're going to find out you're going to rush through your gems. I can see right now all I have is 109 gems. You can run out of gems easily, so I can't stress that well enough. Okay, soul core, not soul shards. All right, make sure I'm saying it right. Yeah, this one here, nah. This one here, early game only. Mid game, don't worry about it, unless you just feel like, there's nothing that really appeals to you and you just want to just have enough to summon. But just remember, you're only going to be summoning one character, but it's still good enough because at least you will need a maximum of 75 to summon one character. That is if you don't even have an existing pair. So you need, like in maximum 75. If you just have nothing at all, you want to put one character, and that character can be random, can end up being one of those trash characters. So remember that you're risking that. This one here, for me, it's always great to have your units pull up all that, pull up all their, be uniform when it comes to their, factional gear, right? Like just look at, for example, Faction Blanca right now. It looks great with this tree, but this one just kind of spoils the taste. And as you know, you can actually switch with a recast, but only for regular factional characters and master, but not for legendary. So that's why he's a little bit off here. But look at someone like Mad Reed, for example, looking very clean with all the thunder there. Look at Bison as well, or Ivory, for example, looking all clean as well. You want to make sure they have that, but the only chance you're going to have that is if you're actually pulling and you're lucky, for example, from the shop, or the guild shop here, for example, here, right? And you're lucky because this one here can either land you the gear, the faction you want, right? Typically, we'll say they would put like it's like power, whatever. But what I'm saying, it can land the faction you want, which is over here, right? Or it can land you a random faction, and worst case scenario, it can land you like nothing. You just have a non-factional gear, and there's nothing, like irritating than just seeing one of those SS non-factional gear, because you don't know if you want to build them up. Of course, when you're early game, you're excited, you're like, oh, I got SS gear, just want to push them up, but you don't realize that, wow, you don't want to use them. And what makes them even worse is that they're not even that valuable. Like, let's look at it this way. Oh man, I wish I had an example right now, but I don't anymore. But what I'm trying to say is this: if you go to, let's look at West Bison here. If you go to try and upgrade, level up this, all right, which say let's disable this with look at this purple one right now, right? This one gives you plus 1,000. All these guys give you plus 8,000. That's not enough once you're above gear level 1 or gear level 2, right? So this SS gear only end up being really nice for like if you want to boost gears. Let's look. I'm looking for, okay, look at this gear right now. I want to boost this gear real quick here, and it's like an SS1. All you're getting is just one. Can you see what I'm saying, right? It's, yeah, sure, this one you might need a little bit more, but this one's always going to be available from the idle distance. You have this as well that you can pile up. That AK just doesn't feel like it's really nice, right? It just feels like, wow, you're wasting all this stuff. Yeah, you probably can use it, but you want to maybe use them for your support characters that you don't really care about. You're only just adding more to the stats, right? You want to use on support characters until once you have enough to displace those support characters. That's pretty much all your non-important characters that you might just want to use to fill up your squad. Otherwise, they're only appreciable when she's early, but you don't really like them. So going back to the cast here, the reason why I actually talk about cast is that when you now want to get those factions to be in the right alignment, you can just get, I will always say maximum like 8, which is 60 words max. Don't go hard in it. 4 is enough, because you're going to be getting one every week from the missions. As you do this every week, I believe it comes up. What does it come up? Is it on the 3rd day? Yeah, the 3rd day that it is here. You're gonna get just once every week from that one. So it's not necessary, but it's worth considering. Okay, so you can get those, right? But I typically always like trying to get, like, once I've gotten enough of these other stuffs here, then I try to consider, should I just go for this, right? But for me right now, I think it's going to be between Soul Core and these gems. Okay, those are the two that I'm prioritizing here. And then the last one that's actually important is going to be this one's here. All right, the Fate gems. They're nice. They help you boost to whatever as quickly as possible. But you want to make sure that if your end game, you're going to be needing these guys more, and once you have enough, then you can consider your fighting souls. You can consider the Fate gems. I think Fate gems I prefer to just build them naturally, as I've normally gotten them. I've never gotten Fate gems before. I've considered them, but I've never really gotten them. The other ways to get Fate gems, from even these grants and all that stuff. So you can, not these grants, this one here. where you have to pick whatever stuff you want, I think from the start. I can't remember where it is, but yeah, this one here. But I already picked, I always pick, the workshop, the cars, because this one you get to see the value. It's so much, you see it, so I prefer to go to that one. But otherwise, that's pretty much it there. There's nothing else that I recommend here. Money only if it's your final change and you can't get anything else, so you get money. But that's pretty much what you want to consider in the vital supplies here. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions, you guys let me know what you guys prioritize in the post here. But that is what I recommend to you guys with regards to what you want to post. And otherwise, it's been your boy Shin Ryu. Make sure you do me a solid, smash a like. We've been stuck on 38 for quite a bit here. Let's try and push this to 40, and then let's try and push to 50. Let's keep going and keep growing as a family together. I thank you guys who have found me and have continued to comment daily. It's always a pleasure. I always talk to you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.